what happens when you live in a society that the only survival mechanism is money for food, shelter, water, housing? Okay, your only survival mechanism is money. So what happens when you live in a society or an operating system that only revolves around money? You lose your natural intelligence and you lose all your actual survival and defense mechanisms. Okay, and you live in a society where not many people are actually thriving. They're actually just surviving to get by, most of them paycheck to paycheck. Okay, and now what happens when you do live in a society that money is the only survival mechanism? Well, you will have people be committing massive amounts of fraud because they don't want to be a slave. They don't want to work jobs. So that's why people commit fraud and steal money from federal programs and state programs, is because that's their only survival mechanism. So naturally, their brain's going to tell them to find the easiest way to do it without having to work a job. And that's why fraud has spiraled out of control. It's been going on a very long time, but once you start operating in a system with only money as a survival mechanism, okay, you lose your natural intelligence, your collective intelligence, okay, and you lose all your survival mechanisms, okay. And now what else happens? You live in a society where people that decide to check out of that survival mechanism, money survival mechanism, society, they become homeless, and then they're called failures, which is it's not true. Okay, right now we're living through a generation, it's called Gen Z, and I think the generation before them was Gen X. Okay, today, and I'm not trying to be mean, if you look at national test scores for the schools all around the country, currently we have the dumbest generation of children ever to walk the planet, okay, with Gen Z and Gen X. And why is that? Well, it's mainly because this is a generation that grew up on YouTube Shorts. With technology in their hands, their parents just handed them the phones. Because again, we're a copycat society, so parents want their kid to fit in. They don't want to feel left out, so they want to make sure their kid has a phone. And the other reason is they want to be able to communicate with their kid at all times, okay? Which is, we get it. But what happens when you have YouTube Shorts as one of your kids', main mechanisms for learning? Well, they're going to have a very short attention span, and that's why it's called YouTube Shorts, because it's starting to shorten your kids' attention span. And this translates into school, and it's why you've seen the lowest test scores in the history of any generation of children. Okay, shout out to the millennials. You were one of the highest test scoring generations, which you were right before YouTube came out. Okay, you kind of trailed over a little bit after YouTube came out. But millennials, if you are in the millennial generation, you were the highest, most intelligent group of students in the United States. And right now, we have seen an absolute drop, like an educational stock market crash with kids' learning abilities. And that's solely due to their attention spans being shortened by technology.